The president is using the machinery of war, he is using the personnel of war, but like everyone else in Washington, he doesn't want to use the word war. And the distinction that everyone in Washington seems to lean on here that makes this not a war is what has now become that cliched phrase, boots on the ground. As long as no American boots touch the soil where you are now, then we will not call it a war. How does that distinction play in the region?
Well, I think I know there are already American boots on the ground where I am now. They are not necessarily firing their rifles or kicking down doors, and we're not going on embeds with these troops. They are troops who are staying away from reporters. They are embedded with local fighters, trying to guide in airstrikes, gathering intelligence, the kind of things that you would have thought the Green Berets would have done many years ago, and which now are being done by Navy SEALs and Delta Force and other special operations forces. Can you conduct a secret war like this, a war by remote control to dislodge ISIS, to dislodge this terrorist group, this militant, murderous group from large parts of Iraq and large parts of Syria? We will see. It is an open question. I think the biggest problem with this strategy is that the first part is very clear. He wants to carry out airstrikes to kill enemies who harm the United States. That seems very similar to the kinds of things that the United States is already doing in Somalia, in Yemen. The rest of the strategy seemed incredibly fuzzy, how that there was going to be this international coalition that would lend its moral support of Sunni countries, that you would have to rebuild the Iraqi army, which has lost a tremendous amount of credibility so far, and that you would work with all of these local partners on the ground. There are some local partners where I am. I'm in northern Iraq, in Kurdistan, and there are some local partners here, and we've been out with those Kurdish fighters who work very closely and very well with the Americans. But in Syria, there aren't any local partners. There are fictitious partners that he's talking about. In Iraq, below where I am right now, there is the Iraqi army, which has disintegrated and is not an effective partner right now. So aside from the very specific idea of sending in special operators, carrying out some drones, the rest of the strategy seemed still quite unclear.